welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and it's Friday, so it's time for us to get our inside update of what's happening, what they say, inside the Beltway or the swamp. But here's a swamp survivor, our buddy Jim Dornan's with us today. Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Perry. How you doing?
Good. You're taking in oxygen, I hope. That looks good, yeah?
Well, it's available now that the shutdown's over.
Well, the shutdown's over. Hallelujah for that. In your opinion, how damaging was that?
Short term, it will probably be remembered at the midterms through commercials and whatnot. But, I mean, it has not been mentioned in my company in the last couple of days at all. It's as if it didn't exist.
Okay. The other question I want to ask you, quite the uproar over these, the senator and Congress people telling the military to disobey orders, that the president was giving illegal orders. They didn't say what they were, but the president responds on Truth Social, and it caused the uproar. I guess maybe they were planning to get. Schumer goes to the floor, blasts the president. Johnson goes to the floor and supports the president. What do you think of this one?
So I think it's just continued degradation of our political interaction. I mean, neither one of the sides are right on this. It was probably not right for the Democrats to talk to the military in that way, and it was definitely not right for Trump to call it sedition. But it just, again, I think it's just a very strong indication of how bad things are and how divisive things are right now in our political system.
Isn't it, though, a serious act to tell people not to obey their commanding officer? Is that insurrection or is that tyranny?
You know what? That's a great question. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the answer to it completely. They shouldn't have done it. But the point was Trump is trying to take control, and don't let him if he tries to use the military to do it. And in a sense, you could say it's a reaction to, the court cases that D.C., Portland, Chicago, et cetera, have all ruled against Trump on. But they've also ruled for him in certain cases in Chicago and other Memphis to go ahead and do what he's doing. So it just, to me, it's a sideshow right now, to be honest with you. They're not talking about things like how we're going to bring the budget deficit down, how we're going to reduce the tariffs, or at least try to, so inflation doesn't go up. I mean, it's disappointing to see. Let's put it this way. These guys are adults. They need to start acting like it.
In the meantime, District Judge rules that the president's National Guard deployment in D.C. was illegal. And I guess that's in a stay until around December 11th. This is another district judge basically disobeying the rule of the Supreme Court that they shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. But is the deployment of the National Guard in D.C. that controversial?
If you talk to the people on the street here, the answer would be no. In fact, I see the National Guard collecting trash than I do, trying to stop criminals, because there just isn't that much going on with it. Once they're seen, I mean, people run. And I think that's originally what the point was. They're not arresting people at all. I don't even know if they're allowed to arrest people. But they're being seen seems to be working.
So if they're pulled back and crime goes up, what does that tell you?
That Trump was right. So again, it's every single thing that's done by Trump or by the other side, his opponents, winds up in court. I mean, that's all we're doing right now is monitoring court cases here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem right.
I mean, look at the mess in Portland. We can't decide whether we want them or don't want them. I'm just stuck in court. All right, so the other big thing that's come out is the Epstein files. This is really amazing. The president wants them out. They're coming out. They were in the hands of the Democrats for years. You know the drill. But now they're going to come out. So it seems like the fatigue factor on this salacious story is at an all-time high, but it's still in front of us. Where is it going?
Well, they're going to release it at some point next week, I'm assuming. That's what the bill that I signed yesterday, the day before, says. And you're going to have names like Larry Summers and a bunch of other people that average everyday American has never heard of, and then it's going to be gone. There's Trump's name isn't in it. Mike Johnson's name isn't in it. John Thune's name isn't in it, or any of the Democrats' names aren't in it. I mean, it's much ado about nothing. And frankly, this does sit in Trump's lap because he campaigned on it. And then he went rogue, I think, for some reason, because maybe he thought something was in fact in it. So he told them Republicans not to pass anything. And then he changed his mind, saying, wait a second, if I'm looking like I'm hiding something, maybe I'm hiding something. So that's when he did the turnaround last Sunday, had him pass the bill unanimously. I think one member of the House out of all 535 members of Congress voted against it. Everybody else voted to support it.
Okay, coming into more of your bailiwick here, the redistricting case in Texas is pretty interesting. Of course, it's being countered by the one in California. But how significant is the Texas one?
Well, first of all, I think it's be careful what you wish for, because it could turn out badly, which is if that court case holds up, and it will probably go to the Supreme Court as well, it's bad news for the Republicans. I mean, the ruling by the judge down there, I believe, was that it took away Hispanic and Black members of Congress by putting them into districts that were already hardcore Republican districts. But, I mean, if that court case holds up, then you turn around, you got California, which essentially does the same thing, only for the Democrats and against the Republicans. So, as usual, everything will probably wind up in the Supreme Court.
The one in California, it looks like it's being racially driven. Is that part of the case? I mean, does that have substance, or is it more just blue and red?
Well, I think, and that's part of the ruling in Texas as well. So I think it's blue versus red. I mean, Blacks and Hispanics tend to vote Democrat. Rural voters tend to vote Republican. And so the Voting Rights Act says when you can put a minority district in place, you should, because you need to give minorities representation in Congress. So, I mean, I think it applies to both of them. What I'm hoping this will do is that this whole redistrict thing goes away and it goes back to the way it was. But I think that's probably wishful thinking on my part.
In the meantime, the president's ratings seem to be slipping. Some say it is the beginning of a trend. Others saying it's temporary. What's your feel?
Well, Trump is campaigned, and he midterm campaigned for the few elections that we had a week or two ago on the economy. And right now, people are not seeing any help on prices. Inflation is slowly going up. Some things aren't. Gas is coming down. But I think Trump's voters are very, very fickle, and they believe exactly what Trump says. And so if he says, I'm going to do this, they expect him to do that. And I think that's where some of the numbers coming down comes from. So maybe the latest cut in the interest rate will help. I know they're looking at it again, and Powell may have kind of given away what's going to happen or not going to happen in December. But, I mean, I think Trump's numbers are strictly on the economy right now.
Secretary Bessent says, yes, things are a little soft right now, but all indications that all this stuff is working in the right direction. Inflation is under control and it's down. Tariffs have driven them down, and that the first 2 quarters will be booming. That's the comeback. That's the comeback.
Case, then it'll be fine. You'll absolutely be fine if that's the case. The problem is if people have to feel it, and I don't know if you saw the speech by Vance yesterday, but they've trying to change the narrative a little bit. They're starting to talk about, hey, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it now. And I think that's probably where the narrative is going to stick with Trump for a while.
Don't you want to fix the economy just prior to the midterm? I mean, you don't want to be fixing it now. You really want to be fixing it after the first of the year, don't you?
Very much so, absolutely. And I agree. And hopefully for all of us, it will be fixed. I'm again, I've expressed my opinion of tariffs on your show many times, Barry, and I think that's going to have to change. And actually, we'll have a ruling on that from the Supreme Court fairly soon, too, after the arguments were made the last week or two.
On that front, any feel for the Supreme Court's take on the arguments for and against tariffs?
Well, if you believe what you read and look at what the different justices said, I think they're a little concerned about Trump's overstepping the bounds on executive power. And you could actually say that on a number of different issues. But that's where the questions from the justices to Trump's lawyers in that hearing were revolved around. And it's not Gorsuch. One of them, a couple of the conservative judges seem to be moving in that direction, that declaring an emergency that doesn't exist is no excuse for creating tariffs, which is essentially what Trump's rationale has been as he raises tariffs around the world. Okay.
The other question is, Mamdani wants to meet with the president. You're laughing, Jim. You're laughing.
I just find it unbelievable that the mayor of New York has gotten this much power. So he's going to apparently this afternoon at 3 o'clock. It ought to be very interesting whether Trump can be very charming and diplomatic. And he can also, we saw the Zelensky meeting, he can also be exactly the opposite. So I think that Mamdani himself will go in there and try to charm Trump. And you may have Trump coming out of that meeting say, hey, we're best friends now. But I just think this is so ironic. And it's again, I think it's a sideshow, too. I mean, it probably had to be done because of all the press that Mamdani's getting and what he's been saying publicly. But, boy, to have a whole news cycle around this seems to be a little bit ridiculous.
How significant was the visit of the Shah from Saudi Arabia?
You know, pretty significant on a foreign policy level. I'm glad that we're getting along with Saudi Arabia. We really need to. They are the, kind of, if you pardon the expression, the king of the Mideast. And they need to get together with Israel, because if those two start getting along, then we may very well see peace there. But he's got a lot of things that people in this country are ticked about. One's the 9/11. They were basically very involved in it. They were all Saudis almost to a man that attacked the country. And then you've got the killing of Khashoggi, the Washington Post journalist, a couple years ago, that our intelligence has said was ordered by the very man that Trump was meeting with this week. So I think it's significant, and that we do need to maintain strong relations with them. But I also think we need to call them on the carpet when it needs to be done.
Wow. Okay. In the meantime, over to Ukraine, Zelensky's administration's got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. The president's reversed his rhetoric and saying no longer should Russia give back the territory that they've gained, but actually that Ukraine should give up more territory to Russia in order to gain peace. Wow.
Yeah, it's a complete mess. I mean, that wow is right. That's the best way to describe it. Zelensky, he's just not a very good politician, and that's okay. I mean, he's been a good leader of Ukraine, but to allow himself to have all these side deals interrupt what he eventually wants to get done, which is get his country back and get Russia off his country's back, if you will, and not very bright. And I understand Trump's impatience.
Well, you kind of wonder, is he positioning Zelensky for re-election, which they know he won't win? In the meantime, he did get one of his prize out of the country, and that was the rare earth mineral deal. He can use Zelensky as long as he wants and then position him for re-election. Then he's got a whole new ballgame with a new administration.
Right. And there's always a possibility that could go sideways. But you're right. I mean, given what the choices are, that may be the only one right now that works best for our country and theirs, frankly.
All right. Jim, it was always good to see you. I don't know how you survive in that place, but somehow you do. And happy Thanksgiving to you, buddy. Remember, you are what you eat.
Absolutely. I'm going to be a good boy and eat healthy. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody there at the station and to you and Peg.
Okay.
Of course, Jason.
All right. God bless you, pal. Good to see you. Take care.
You as well, Perry.